I'm a storyteller. All I want to do is tell stories. There are some stories that I tell through music. There's some stories that I tell through being an actor, some stories that I tell being a director. So for me, it's just some stories I can only tell this way. So it's not that I prefer either one, because I might not be able to tell the same story in another way. So I just always want to try to find the best way to tell the best story. Typically, like if it's an animated show, then we're just in a studio, you know, typically all together, the cast is together. And we just read the script. There's not any, you hand that off to the animation and that's kind of, you're done with it. For most of the games that I do, now it's on a big sound stage, you're in the ridiculous suit, you got a camera right in front of your face, but you're interacting with your other actors, you're interacting with the environment, they're building sets. It's a lot more physically involved, which to me allows me personally to have more of an immersive performance, so that I feel that the experience is more immersive.
Favors you think I owe you ain't worth that much.
Actually, Bill, they are.
Well, it don't matter because I don't have a car that works.
But there is one in this town.
Parts. There are parts in this town.
Meaning that you could fix one up.
Let me get it, it's not just the voice, it's all of us, right? I think there inherently is a lot of me, but there's also a lot of Neil Druckmann, who's the writer. There's a lot of the character artist that's in there. There's all of Naughty Dog that's involved in not just Joel, but in Ellie and Tess and Marlene and all of the characters. That's over 300 people that helped make that game and created those characters. I'm one part of it, which is a really unique thing. Normally it's like, here's the character, you do all of it. And this is more of a partnership, and so we all get to celebrate when it's successful.
Get up. We're leaving.
And if I say no?
Do you even realize what your life means? Huh? Running off like that, putting yourself at risk, it's pretty goddamn stupid.
I believe that Naughty Dog is really on the cutting edge of how that's done and set the standard by a lot of people. Games changed. Once Uncharted came out and that really became, there were some games that did, you know, motion capture is something that's been around for a while, but Uncharted was really like, this is the shift that the industry is moving to. Like I said, now it's pretty much every game I do is somehow involves some form of performance capture. It's something that I look forward to because I like being as involved in the character as possible. So when I have an opportunity to do that, I jump towards that.
Your old man really laid into me today.
What happened?
Another big lecture about my patrols. Don't go here, don't go there. It's funny how involved he gets whenever you're scheduled to go out.
Yeah.
You're not ready. You're not ready. When we first set out to make the first one, we had no idea the impact that it was going to have. Now, 5 years later, all we want to do is make a story that is just as good as the stories that people have told us about the experiences they've had playing the games. We just want to make a game that we're proud of playing and that we enjoy playing ourselves. He's every bit as crazy and creative as you think. Being able to see inside of how his mind works, he does two things incredibly well. That's create worlds and create characters. And Death Stranding is a great example of both of those things. It's a huge world, huge characters.
Well, shit. I had a special surprise prepped and everything. But it looks to me like your hands are full. It's no biggie. You can always tweak the rules a bit.
He's also created a genre of gameplay, so you can know that and trust that the gameplay is going to be on par with his ability to cinematically tell a story. He never spoon feeds stuff to people. It's compelling and it's intriguing and it's hard to wrap your head around sometimes. But that to me is the mark of a good game. It's a good experience. It's something that compels you and pulls you forward. Waiting for Death Stranding to come out, and for The Last of Us 2 to come out for us to finish that. There's, this is the worst part. Towards the end of the year, everything that has been announced, or everything that can be announced has been announced, and everything that can't be, won't be. So there's like this weird period in the winter where I can't talk about anything. There are games coming up that I'm so excited to play them because there's one in particular where there's a character. I've always wanted to play this type of character, and I'm finally getting the opportunity to play it. But for right now, it's about finishing up these projects, having a blast with my buddy Nolan North and our retro replay show on YouTube, and then it's now a great time for me to actually play through some of the games that have come out this year. I cannot wait to get home to play Red Dead and just spend hours upon hours upon hours just riding around on a horse, you know, hunting bears and rabbits and trains and whatnot.
So, you got a deal?
Yes, we have a deal.
Well, that was easy.
If I've done my job, that character has taught me something about myself as an actor. It's taught me something about myself as a person. So it's impossible to choose the favorite between those. It's just about finding the favorite thing about that character. Because there's no way that I would ever choose one or the other and say, well, if I couldn't have done this, because I might not have learned the lesson that I needed to learn with that character. Even the characters that I didn't necessarily like doing, it still taught me something.
I want to ask you, who is the least favorite character?
Mass Effect, Kai Lang, I can answer that no problem.
I did warn you not to overstay your welcome.
I'm such a fan of the Mass Effect franchise. I went FemShep, proud to admit it. Love Mark Mir, but man, it was something cool about that series specifically, giving you that much agency and a super strong female character and a different storyline if you did that. To finally being in that franchise and being just the biggest jerk in the universe, killed me. Caroline, who's the person who cast me in that, she's like, I got a role for you. Like, yes. She was like, it's this guy. I was like, who is he? She goes, well. But again, it's like, I love that I have that story. And to me, it goes back to just telling my story in the best way possible.
I wake up in the morning glow. I have never felt this pure before. Your eyes shine so green today as I hang on every word.
I know it sounds cheesy, but it's just humbling, man. Every time I walk out on stage, especially to play music, I expect nobody to be there. And when I came out last night and people were really into it, people were singing along to the songs, I told my buddy Guillermo, I said, I've been waiting 6 months to really be able to walk out and have the kind of show that I had last night. So it was like a dream come true for me. It was really awesome. And it makes me want to do it more often. So I think it was more enjoyable for me than the people that were actually watching.
Not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel, but I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.